In a quiet corner of the world, nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, there lay a valley known only to those who sought peace. It was called the Starlit Valley, a place where the air was soft, the breeze carried the scent of lavender, and the stars above seemed to hum a gentle lullaby. The valley was not marked on any map, nor was it spoken of in bustling towns or crowded cities. It was a secret kept by the earth itself, shared only with those whose hearts yearned for stillness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of apricot and rose, the valley came alive with a quiet magic. The grasses swayed in a slow dance, their tips brushing against one another like old friends sharing secrets. A stream, clear as crystal, wound its way through the valley, its waters murmuring softly, as if inviting anyone who listened to rest a while. Fireflies began to flicker, their golden glow weaving patterns in the air, like tiny lanterns guiding weary travelers to a place of calm. In this valley lived a keeper, an old soul named Elara. She was not young, nor was she old in the way most people think of age. Her hair was silver, like moonlight spun into threads, and her eyes held the depth of countless starry nights. Elara was the caretaker of the valley, though she never called herself such. She simply belonged to the place, as the trees belonged to the earth and the stars belonged to the sky. Her presence was as gentle as the breeze, and her voice when she spoke was like the sound of water over smooth stones, soft, steady, and endlessly soothing. Elara's home was a small cottage at the edge of the valley, built from stones smoothed by time and covered in moss that glowed faintly under the moonlight. The cottage was simple, with a thatched roof and a single window that looked out over the stream. Inside, the air was warm and smelled of dried herbs and honey. A fire burned low in the hearth, its embers casting a soft glow that danced across the wooden beams. On the walls hung tapestries woven from memories of the valley, scenes of blooming wildflowers, quiet deer grazing in the meadows, and skies filled with stars that seemed to pulse with life. Each evening, as the world grew quiet, Elara would step outside her cottage and walk the paths of the valley. Her steps were slow and deliberate, as if she were savoring each moment the earth offered her. She carried no lantern, for the stars and fireflies lit her way, and she knew every curve of the path as well as she knew her own heartbeat. As she walked, she whispered to the valley, not words that anyone could understand, but a soft hum that seemed to blend with the night air. The trees leaned closer to listen, and the stream slowed its flow, as if to catch every note. Tonight, the valley felt especially still. The air was cool, carrying the faint sweetness of wild honeysuckle, and the stars above shone with a clarity that made them seem close enough to touch. Elara paused by the stream, kneeling to dip her fingers into the water. It was cool and smooth like silk against her skin, and she smiled as tiny ripples spread outward, catching the starlight in their delicate waves. "Good evening, my friend," she whispered to the stream, her voice barely louder than the water itself. The stream seemed to answer, its murmurs growing softer, as if returning her greeting. Elara rose and continued her walk, her bare feet brushing against the soft grass. She wore a long, flowing robe the color of twilight, its edges embroidered with patterns that mirrored the constellations above. As she moved, the robe seemed to blend with the night, making her appear as part of the valley itself. She passed a grove of willow trees, their long branches swaying gently, like curtains drawn across the sky. Beneath them, a family of rabbits nestled in the grass, their eyes glinting faintly as they watched her pass. They were not afraid, for Elara's presence was as familiar to them as the moon. The valley was alive with gentle sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the soft chirping of crickets hidden in the grass. Yet these sounds never clashed or competed. They wove together, creating a symphony that was both intricate and simple, a melody that invited the heart to slow and the mind to rest. Elara listened as she walked, her breath falling into rhythm with the valley's song. She felt the worries of the day, those small nagging thoughts that sometimes followed her, slip away, carried off by the breeze like dandelion seeds. At the heart of the valley lay a clearing, a perfect circle of grass surrounded by wildflowers that bloomed in every season. This was the Starlit Meadow, the place where the valley's magic was strongest. Elara stepped into the clearing and paused, tilting her head back to gaze at the sky. The stars seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, their light soft but steady, like a promise kept. She lowered herself to the grass, lying back with her hands folded over her chest. The ground was warm, as if the earth itself were cradling her, and the grass was soft as a feather bed. As she lay there, Elara began to hum again, her voice blending with the night. The sound was low and gentle, a melody without words, yet it carried a story of its own. It spoke of quiet mornings when the valley was draped in mist, of afternoons when butterflies danced in the sunlight, of nights when the stars seemed to whisper secrets to those who listened. The melody was a lullaby, not just for Elara, but for the valley itself, for the trees, the stream, the creatures that called this place home. It was a reminder that all was well, that the world was at peace, that rest was near. The fireflies gathered closer, their lights flickering in time with Elara's hum. They formed patterns in the air, delicate spirals and loops that seemed to trace the paths of the stars above. A soft breeze stirred the wildflowers, releasing their sweet scent into the night, and the grass beneath Elara seemed to sigh in contentment. She closed her eyes, letting the valley's song wash over her. Her breathing slowed, each inhale drawing in the cool, fragrant air, each exhale releasing any lingering tension. In her mind's eye, Elara saw the valley as it was in every season. She saw the spring, when the meadows bloomed with daisies and the stream swelled with the laughter of snowmelt. She saw the summer, when the air was warm and the nights were filled with the hum of cicadas. She saw the autumn, when the trees donned cloaks of gold and crimson, and the valley seemed to glow from within. And she saw the winter, when the ground was blanketed in snow, and the stars shone brighter against the cold, clear sky. Each season was a thread in the valley's tapestry, woven together to create a place that was timeless and eternal. As Elara lay in the meadow, she felt the presence of the valley's other inhabitants. Not just the animals, but the spirits of the place. They were not ghosts or specters, but gentle energies, like the memory of a warm embrace. There was the spirit of the oak tree that stood at the valley's edge, strong and steadfast, its roots deep in the earth. There was the spirit of the stream, ever flowing, ever changing, yet always constant. There was the spirit of the wind, playful and free, carrying stories from distant places. These spirits did not speak in words, but in feelings, in the way the air felt against the skin or the way the stars seemed to wink. Elara's hum grew softer, fading into a whisper as she felt herself sinking deeper into the valley's embrace. The grass beneath her seemed to cradle her more closely, and the stars above seemed to lean down, their light brushing against her like a kiss. She felt no need to move, no need to speak, no need to do anything but be. The valley held her, as it held all who came to it, with a love that was quiet but unshakable. And so, the night passed in the Starlit Valley. The stars continued their slow dance across the sky. The stream continued its gentle song, and the fireflies wove their golden patterns. Elara slept, her breath soft and even, her heart at peace. The valley watched over her, as it had for countless nights before, and as it would for countless nights to come. It was a place of rest, a place of healing, a place where the world's worries could not follow. For those who found their way to the Starlit Valley, whether in body or in dreams, the experience was the same. They would feel the softness of the grass, hear the murmur of the stream, see the glow of the fireflies. They would lie in the meadow, as Elara did, and let the valley's lullaby carry them to sleep. And as they slept, they would dream of quiet places, of starlit skies, of a world where everything was gentle and kind. The valley did not ask for thanks, nor did it seek recognition. It simply was a gift from the earth to those who needed it. And as the first light of dawn began to touch the horizon, painting the sky in shades of lavender and gold, the valley remained, waiting patiently for the next soul in need of rest. And so, dear listener, if you find yourself weary, if the world feels heavy on your shoulders, close your eyes and imagine the starlit valley. Picture the soft grass beneath you, the cool stream beside you, the stars above you. Let Elara's hum guide you. Let the valley's peace envelop you. Breathe deeply and let each breath carry you closer to sleep. The valley is there, waiting, ready to hold you in its gentle embrace. Rest now and let the world fade away, for you are safe in the starlit valley, where dreams are soft and sleep is sweet.